Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Viewers, as we speak, Partha Chatterjee of the TMC is in the custody of the Enforcement Directorate. He is a cabinet minister where Mamata Banerjee's government in West Bengal is concerned. On the other hand, the Health Minister of Delhi, Satyendra Jain, is in custody of the Enforcement Directorate in Delhi. On the other hand, tomorrow Sonia Gandhi has once again been called in for questioning where the Enforcement Directorate is concerned. The opposition has banded together saying that the centre has unleashed probing agencies for political vendetta. The BJP and the government says it's due diligence. Why be scared? Here's more. The Enforcement Directorate is intensifying the probe into the teachers' recruitment scam in West Bengal. The agency has moved the main accused, TMC Minister Partha Chatterjee, from the state-run SSKM hospital in Kolkata to the centre-run AIIMS hospital in Bhubaneswar. The move comes under the direction of the Calcutta High Court after the ED opposed Partha getting himself admitted to a Bengal government-run hospital and sought his transfer. As per the ED arrest memo, Partha Chatterjee told investigators that he intended to inform West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee about his arrest. The memo says Partha dialed the Bengal CM 4 times, but none of his calls were received. Mamata Banerjee might have refused to take any of his calls, but she was compelled to speak on the case which has the TMC cornered. The Bengal Chief Minister, while addressing a group of people, said that she or her government would not stand for corruption.
যদি কেউ চোর হয়, ডাকাত হয়, তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস পেয়ার করে না। আমি নিজের ছেলেদের অ্যারেস্ট করেছি অনেকগুলো। আমি নিজের এমএলএ এমপি কাউকে স্পেয়ার করি না অন্যায় করলে। মিনিস্টারও স্পেয়ার করি না, মাথায় রাখবেন। কিন্তু অযথা আমার গায়ে কালি ছেটানোর চেষ্টা করলে মনে রাখবেন, আলকাতরা কিন্তু আমার হাতেও আছে।
Partha's aide Arpita Mukherjee meanwhile was also sent to 1 day's ED custody. Around 20 crore rupees in cash was found at her residence. What has also left the investigative agency stumped? The Bengal minister Partha Chatterjee, a dog lover himself, has a luxury flat exclusively for his dogs. While the latest developments have embarrassed the TMC, in Parliament, the TMC Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party joined forces in cornering the government over what they deem the misuse of central agencies to gag opposition. Bureau Report, India Today. All right, viewers, I just want to take you through some of the leaders where opposition parties are concerned, which currently, as we speak, are under the probe agency's radar. Well, to begin with, Sonia Gandhi is going to be questioned by the ED tomorrow. Rahul Gandhi already being questioned by the ED. Robert Vadra, Mr. P. Chidambaram, Karti Chidambaram, Bhupinder Hooda, D.K. Sivakumar. Some of the leaders where multiple central agencies are investigating. Mr. Sharad Pawar from the NCP as well. Abhishek Banerjee from the TMC. Farooq Abdullah from the NC. Akhilesh Yadav, Mayawati, Ashok Gehlot as well, Sachin Pilot as well, Sanjay Raut's wife, Varsha Raut. These are various opposition leaders who are under the radar of the opposition, leaders of the opposition who are under the radar of probe agencies. Now let's get you the names of those who are actually arrested by probe agencies where the opposition is concerned. Well, NCP's Nawab Malik and Anil Deshmukh are currently in jail. Aam Aadmi Party Satyendra Jain is also in jail. Partha Chatterjee is right now in ED custody. Just some of the leaders where the opposition is concerned right now in custody of investigative agencies, which has prompted the opposition to band together and say and allege that the centre is misusing central agencies. Is that the case, or is it just pure due diligence? If you look at the case of Partha Chatterjee, viewers, 20 crore was found where his accomplice, or rather his associate, was concerned. I want to cut across to Guru Prakash Paswan, spokesperson BJP. Professor Saugata Roy, Lok Sabha MP, is also joining us. Reena Gupta from the Aam Aadmi Party. If Mr. Roy is with us, I want to cut across to him first. All right. Mr. Roy, the fact is, one can say misuse of central agencies, central agencies unleashed by the center to gag opposition. But the fact is, sir, where the TMC stands today, it's a little tough with that argument. You have 20 crores that has been recovered, from Partha Chatterjee's accomplice or associate.
No, would you repeat the question, please?
Mr. Roy, can you hear me, sir?
Hello. I can hear you. Would you repeat
Sir,
the question?
The question is, the TMC can allege that central forces or central agencies are being misused, but in the case of Partha Chatterjee, Mr. Roy, 20 crores has been recovered from his associate's house. How do you explain that, sir?
No, as far as the recovery of the money is concerned, the TMC has no connection with the money. And TMC has no connection with the person you call Partha Chatterjee's associate. It is for the ED to prove their connection, but as far as we are concerned, it's not TMC's money. TMC knows nothing about the money. And TMC also does not know about the link of Partha Chatterjee with the so-called lady from whom money has been recovered.
But Mr. Roy, then with what face does the TMC suggest that central agencies are being misused?
No, we have alleged central agencies are being misused because on 21st July, we had a massive rally in Kolkata. The next morning at 4 o'clock, the ED raided Partha Chatterjee's house, questioned him for 27 hours and then arrested him. Now this unleashing of ED and CBI on opposition leaders is nothing new. It's happening all over the country. In Delhi, they put Minister Satyendra Jain and into custody and they are targeting Manish Sisodia. In Maharashtra, they are targeting Praful Patel. And in Bengal, they have targeted Partha Chatterjee and other leaders earlier. So it's a familiar tactic of the central government led by the BJP to unleash CBI and ED on people. The Partha Chatterjee's case, it was originally Partha was being questioned by CBI. He replied to their questions. High Court said it was all right. Then suddenly ED was unleashed. Until now, they have not established the connection between the two. That's why we have demanded that we shall take action against anybody who is found guilty of any financial wrongdoings. But it has to be proved in a court. And two, inquiry and investigation into such matters should be completed quickly. Three, the judicial process must be accelerated and finished quickly. That's all we want.
Okay. Professor Roy, stay with me. I want to bring in...
that is all we want.
Right. Professor Roy, stay with me. I'm bringing in Dr. Paswan, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party as well in this conversation. Dr. Paswan, the charge which is laid by the opposition is, and the opposition seems to be united in this, the likes of, and we'll play those graphics out, the CBI probe inconclusive where Mr. Yediyurappa was concerned, CBI closed case where the Reddy brothers were concerned, the probe stopped where Himanta Biswa in the bribery scandal was concerned, Narayan Rane, Suvendu Adhikari, the list goes on, Shivraj Singh Chauhan in the Vyapam scam. So the question, Dr. Paswan, that is being raised is that this is a witch hunt, this is political vendetta.
Thank you so much, Preeti. I was patiently listening to Professor Saugata Roy, who is a very senior leader of TMC.
Not the first scam. I sincerely hope that it's the last scam. But there is a list of scams when it comes to West Bengal. Coal block allocation scam, Rose Valley scam, Sharda, Narda, flood relief, SSC scam. There are so many scams in West Bengal, the list is endless. It is the same Mr. Partha Chatterjee who declared his assets in the tune of 1.15 crore when he filed his nomination for the election. Second point, we must remember, we must not misguide our people. It was the Calcutta High Court. I say it categorically, it was the Calcutta High Court that asked the Enforcement Directorate to initiate inquiry in this particular case. Second important point, Arpita Mukherjee, from whose house the cash was retrieved. Arpita Mukherjee, Mamta Banerjee, Partha Chatterjee. They were on the same stage. They were sharing the same stage. It was not just a matter of simple photograph. It was not just a matter of simple selfie. They were sharing the same stage, and in this video, Mamta Banerjee, the Chief Minister and the TMC head, has said it categorically, "Achha kaam kar rahe ho Arpita, achha kaam karte raho." Can you define what this achha kaam is? This achha kaam is SSC scam. This achha kaam, this good job is 20 crore cash which was found in the house of Arpita Mukherjee. There is a lot of explanation. There is a lot of explanation which the Trinamool Congress has to do. Just the argument, falling behind this argument that the center is targeting the opposition leader, it does not hold any water. Point number one. Second point, we must understand that these agencies work structurally. They have their own procedures. They have their own operations. They operate within the four walls of the Constitution. They have their own rule of law. So you cannot question the integrity of this institution. I can give you data from 2004 to 2014. 112 searches were carried out by ED. The amount of cash which was found, 5,346 crores. The number of prosecution, 104. From 2014 to 2022, 2,974 searches were conducted. 95,000 crores were retrieved. 839 prosecution complaints. This shows our commitment for clean governance. This shows that we have zero tolerance for corruption. So we must understand, every time you are caught, every time any leader from any party is caught, you cannot question them. You cannot question the institution in itself, because these institutions have to eventually, ultimately pass the judicial scrutiny. You have to understand this, that they do not operate in silos. Any person with basic elementary understanding of Constitution can see that any agencies cannot go scot-free. If they are committing any wrong, you have the option of judicial scrutiny. So when you question them, it also shows in a way that you have no faith in the judiciary. Our judiciary, I need not mention here, we have independence of judiciary, which is the basic structure of our Constitution. So we must understand, whenever these opposition leaders are caught, they are caught on camera. 20 crore cash, you can say that BJP probably went and planted the 20 crore cash, but that's not going to work here. The agencies work within the four walls of the Constitution, and you must not question the agencies. If you question the agencies, you are questioning the judiciary and thereby questioning the Constitution of India as well. Please.
I want to bring in Reena Gupta into this conversation from the Aam Aadmi Party. Reena Gupta, your party member Sanjay Singh today in Rajya Sabha raised the misuse of central agencies where the opposition parties, including yours, is concerned. Especially yours is what he raised. The fact is, Reena Gupta, when we talk about Satyendra Jain, he's still in ED custody. If it was the rule of law, he would have gotten out. Why hasn't the Aam Aadmi Party till now been able to sustain at least bail where Satyendra Jain is concerned? The raising now the issue of Manish Sisodia, where the excise policy and a CBI probe is concerned, where the liquor policy is in question. If there is nothing to hide, why worry is the question that is being put out.
Preeti, since the time Mr. Modi has come to the center and is in power, the number of ED raids has gone up 26 times, Preeti. In his regime, there have been 3,000 raids. And what is the conviction rate? Less than 1%. So what you are trying to do is you are trying to harass the opposition leaders if these cases were so good, if they were so watertight, why is the conviction rate so low? That's my first point. Point number two, we have seen several times in the past, and I don't want to name those leaders, you've named a few of those, that as soon as the opposition leaders join Bharatiya Janata Party, in the washing machine of Bharatiya Janata Party, they all get washed. उनके सारे पाप धुल जाते हैं, उनके खिलाफ जो केसेस होते हैं, सारे केसेस बंद हो जाते हैं. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to break away opposition. They're trying to bring down governments in various states. We saw recently they did this in Maharashtra. They're trying to do the same with Aam Aadmi Party, but I can say on your channel with conviction, they will not be able to break away even a single of our leaders. They filed 140 cases against our MLAs because they wanted to bring down the Delhi government. Most of those cases have been thrown out. The courts have been categorical. They have been very harsh in saying that these were all witch hunt. They were cases that would have never stood the scrutiny of law.
One question that beckons to be asked. Yes, please.
Can I complete?
Please complete.
See, now, whenever such thing happens, there is prime time debate. So because now, the LG of Delhi has said there should be an inquiry into the excise policy, there's prime time debate on this. But a couple of months later, when it's going to fall flat, there will be no debate on this. It will be mentioned on some page 16 of some news report somewhere. So what you've done, you've tarnished the image of people, of the leaders of Aam Aadmi Party by these false cases. They set up
Ms.
a
Gupta,
committee.
may I ask a quick question? Ms. Gupta, if the faith in courts is so strong, then why is it that the Aam Aadmi Party hasn't been able to get Mr. Satyendra Jain out of ED custody?
We are trying, Preeti, and it is an 8-year-old case where they, in 8 years, if they had any iota of evidence, why did they not manage to file a charge sheet in 8 years? It's just vendetta politics against Aam Aadmi Party. And, Mr. Satyendra Jain, who was in charge of Himachal Pradesh, Aam Aadmi Party is doing very well in Himachal Pradesh. The Bharatiya Janata Party is scared of Aam Aadmi Party in Himachal Pradesh. And that is the reason why Mr. Satyendra Jain is behind bars for an 8-year-old case on which...
All right. I want to bring in... I will go to Professor Roy in 1 minute, sir. I want to bring in Dr. Paswan once again in this conversation. Dr. Paswan, there is a constant charge that has always been laid, and that is intimidation where the opposition is concerned. Once again, if we look at the leaders right now who are in jail and where the cases have gone cold, what happens there? All those cases where every opposition party now has called the BJP washing machine effect. They're all completely, clean of any cases where any central agency probe is concerned.
Preeti, if I could just add to that, is there a single ED case against any Bharatiya Janata Party leader?
We are playing those out. Okay, 1 second. Yes, Dr. Paswan, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Preeti. I was patiently listening to my friend from the Aam Aadmi Party. We are certainly scared of Aam Aadmi Party because of the thumping majority they got in Uttar Pradesh, the thumping majority they got in Uttarakhand, and also the Himachal Pradesh chief of Aam Aadmi Party recently resigned and joined the BJP. So there are so many reasons for us to get afraid of Aam Aadmi Party. Point number two, this is a question that you asked about the misuse of agencies. That is a very relevant question, but we need to understand something. We need to have a perspective. In 2013 case, Justice B.M. Lodha from the Supreme Court, what did he call the CBI? A staged parrot in a hearing on the coal block allocation scam during the tenure of UK government. So if you speak of misuse of constitution, I would like to take your attention towards a book that was written by former President Trinamool Congress in his book Coalition Year, where he has categorically said that he was against the arrest of Kansi Pit Shankaracharya Jayendra Saraswati, but despite that he was arrested, this is what you call a misuse of agency. I can give you hundreds of other examples. Former Home Secretary G.K. Pillai said this in an interview in television that he got the affidavit changed under the pressure of P. Chidambaram. RVS Mani, former Under Secretary of Internal Security in MHA, he has made similar charges. Appointment of CVC when former leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Sushma Swaraj ji, registered and eventually had to be removed. This is what you call misuse of institution. What we have seen in the last 8 years, is our focus Our priority is clean governance. And whenever a finger is raised on Bharatiya Janata Party, I can give you an example of Ishwarappa. Ishwarappa used to be a minister in Karnataka government. He resigned. There are inquiries going against him. So
Okay.
point is not this.
Prithvi, can
When
I
you
come
have
in?
to single-handedly identify and make this accusation, you question the integrity of these institutions, you question the integrity of the
Okay.
Constitution of India as well.
Okay,
That's
I
the
want to
simple
go.
point, Prithvi.
Okay, I'd like to go to Professor Roy if he's with us. Professor Roy, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I am there. I am there.
Professor Roy, the fact
I am
is,
not disturbing anybody. I am there.
sir, thank you, sir. My question is,
Yes.
you know, the charges that are there now. Let's say where Abhishek Banerjee, his wife are concerned. How does the TMC justify that as political vendetta when 20 crores has been found on the likes of Partha Chatterjee, sir?
Again, I say that we have nothing to do with the money that has been found with the so-called associate of Partha Chatterjee. We have nothing to do with it. That lady is not a part of TMC. It never was. If the ED can pursue the case, prove anything in court, then we'll see. But so far, no money trail linking the lady to Partha Chatterjee has been discovered. Whatever else, the ED was questioning Partha Chatterjee in any case. So to link TMC with the money trail is not proper. Now, I want some reply from the BJP as to how the BJP has become the biggest washing machine in the world. Anybody who goes into BJP becomes clean, no investigation. What about this Himanta Biswa Sharma, Assam Chief Minister? Big hero he acts as. He was accused of a scam and the BJP itself spoke against him on water supply scam. What about Yedurappa, who went to jail on a mining scam?
Right, sir.
And then when he came out, he became Chief Minister again. And lastly, in Modi's government, there have been the biggest scams. These are small things. What about the Diwan Housing Finance Limited? Scam what? 34,000 crores, which flourished in BJP's time. What about the ABG shipyard
Right.
scam? India's biggest bank fraud of 22,842 crores.
Right.
You're
Professor
talking
Roy,
of
I'm running out of time.
scams
I'm going to
from
take
the
those questions and quickly
BJP.
lay them at Dr. Paswan's doorstep.
Last sentence.
Yes, sir.
last-
Yes, sir. Please, please.
Last sentence. I am saying, I am repeating that TMC will not defend the indefensible.
Right.
Mamata Banerjee has said that if you accuse anybody, then if you prove it, you send him to life imprisonment. But just
Right,
by
sir.
innuendo.
Right, sir. 20 seconds,
just
Dr.
by
Paswan. There are
scandal-mongering,
charges that have been
the
laid.
BJP
Professor Roy, I'm
can't
sorry
go
I'm
anywhere.
interrupting. And Reena Gupta, apologies. I know you wanted to come in for a rebuttal, but direct questions have been asked of Dr. Paswan. Dr. Paswan, you know, Professor Roy has posed some questions. I have 20 seconds. Over to you.
You see, Professor Roy is a very senior leader, but unfortunately he chose not to answer the questions when Arpita Mukherjee is sharing stage with Mamata Banerjee, which is really unfortunate. But really we need to understand one simple plot. ED has to question Sonia Gandhi, and the entire opposition, led by the Congress party, they are suggesting that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are above the constitution, they are above the rule of law. That is not going to happen. This is clear that after 2014, everyone is equal in the eyes of law. This is not going to remain only as a letter in the constitution, but we are going to follow it. It's a 2015 scam, and the truth must come out in front of the entire country.
All right. I'm going to just leave it at that. Appreciate you all for joining us. Thank you there. We've run short of time, but I'm sure this is a topic that is going to come up in days to come, viewers. Just to give you the view ahead, tomorrow, Sonia Gandhi goes back for her interrogation where the Enforcement Directorate in the National Herald case is concerned.